Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dr. Kyle Explains, your YouTube channel where we go through GCSE science content quickly and easily. Today we're going to be going over using moles to calculate mass, a topic pupils often find difficult, but with my methods I'm absolutely certain you'll be able to get full marks for your GCSE questions. So if you haven't yet watched my videos on how to calculate formula mass or moles and Avogadro's constant, please stop the video now and carry on with the playlist for those videos before carrying on with this one. Thank you to everyone who is subscribing, giving the video a thumbs up and liking the channel. Please do turn on all bell notifications so you know and get updated on my latest videos. Please grab a pen, a paper and a calculator and let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so what I've done is I've written some questions out and I've kind of tried to write them as they would appear on an exam. So you would have your question written up here and then they'll give you the mass numbers of the elements that need to be used, plus an equation of what's going on. So if you want to have a go at this, then please feel free to pause the video and then wait for me to go through it. Or if you just want me to listen and if you want to listen to me rather, and just see how you would work through this example, then please do take some notes as you go. But please, I want these videos to be as practical for you guys as possible. So please make sure you're having a go at this as you go along. So the first thing you should do is literally rewrite the equation down here. So HCl plus NaOH goes to NaCl plus H2O. Then we're going to write mass, mR, and moles. Because remember, the equation we're using here is moles equals mass divided by mR. Now the reason we're using that equation is because it's telling us how much NaCl will form from 10 grams of NaOH. So we've got a mass there. It's asking us how much is going to form. So the question is asking us to work out a mass. And we're also given the MRs here or the ARs here in order to be able to work out our moles. So that's how we know we're going to use this equation. Then let's figure out what we're going to do. So how much NaCl? So I'm going to put a little question mark here for NaCl for us to work out the mass. That's what we're trying to figure out. Then we're going to put in 10 grams of NaOH here. And then we're going to look at this and go, right, what else can we work out? So we could work out the MRs of all of these, but obviously the only ones we're actually going to bother working out is this one here and this one here, because we haven't got any mass numbers for this one or the water. Now, obviously there's going to be some hydrochloric acid reacting in this because you can't form sodium chloride without it. However, because it doesn't mention the mass, we're going to assume that this one is in excess. Now, this means there's plenty of it and we're not going to need to worry about it. So let's go ahead and work this out then. So sodium is 23 plus oxygen is 16 plus 1 for the hydrogen. So that gives us an MR of 40. Remember, if you're unsure how I've worked out that number, please go back through my videos on how to work out formula mass. So on my calculator then, just down here, I'm then going to do 10 divided by 40 equals 0.25 moles. The next thing you then do is you look at your equation. Now what this equation is telling us is I've got 1 sodium hydroxide, or 1 mole of sodium hydroxide, and that goes over here to react and form 1 mole of sodium chloride. That's what my equation tells me. So therefore, if I've got 0.25 moles, which I actually do because I've got 10 grams, 10 divided by 40 is 0.25. That means because it's a 1-to-1 ratio, I'm going to form 0.25 moles over there. Now, how do I then calculate my mass? Just quickly, I'm going to work out my MR. So I'm going to do 23 plus 35.5. That gives me 58.5. And so now if I times that together, because remember, moles times MR equals mass. So if I times these two numbers together, that's going to give me 14.6 grams. And so if you always write it in this kind of column method where we write the equation first, mass MR moles, mass divided by MR equals your moles, work it out logically, nice and neatly. I'm absolutely certain you're going to get full marks in this by laying it out really neatly. Let's have a go at another question. Okay, so how much magnesium chloride will form from 5 grams of HCl? So first thing we do then, magnesium plus 2 HCl goes to magnesium chloride plus H2. Mass mR moles. Right, how much magnesium chloride, so that's that one, will form from 5 grams of HCl, so that's this one. We're going to assume, because it doesn't give us any more information, that this one is in excess, and then we can work out our MRs. Now, it's really important not to include the big number in your MR calculation. That tells you how many moles react with what. That's for your ratio. So your MR of this is 36.5. And I'm just going to double check what this one is. So 35.5 times 2 plus 24 equals 95 for this one. Okay, so sometimes you get to an equation, you think, right, I'm not really sure what else to do now. So let's look at our equation, or the numbers we've got, and think, right, what's the only thing I can work out? And it's the moles. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 36.5. That gives me 0.13698,630 reoccurring. So that's quite a big number. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press my little button right here on the calculator, which says SD. And that then puts it into a fraction for me of 10 over 73 moles. So that's nice and easy for me to write down. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my ratio. So 2 of these reacts to form 1 of those. And so therefore, what I need to do for this number to get my number of moles over here is I need to divide it by 2. So I've kept that number in my calculator because I don't want to get a rounding error. So I've done 5 divided by 36.5, kept the number in the calculator, and I've pressed divide by 2, and I get 5 over 73. And then what do? I just times that by 95, and that gives me 6.5 grams of magnesium chloride. Really well done if you got that right. Okay, so let's have a go at the next one then. This one's slightly harder. So again, how much ammonia? So straight away I've got how much, 30 grams. I've got my MRs there or my ARs there. So I know I'm going to use moles equals mass over MR. So I'm going to write 3 hydrogen plus nitrogen goes to, and sometimes this is actually a reversible reaction, but we're not going to worry too much about what that means today, to NH3, mass, MR, and moles. Right, so what information I've got? I've got 30 grams of hydrogen, and I've got to work out my ammonia. Now, sometimes they don't actually tell you the formulas. So ammonia is this one, NH3. Now, you might not know that, but however, hopefully you do know that N2 is nitrogen, and so you would have been able to work that one out. So that's what we're trying to work out. Okay, so you don't use the big number in your MR calculation. So I've got 2 hydrogens, so that's an MR of 2. And here I've got nitrogen, which is 14, plus 3 hydrogens, so that's going to give me 14, 15, 16, 17. Lovely stuff. Okay, what's the only thing I can work out? So 30 divided by 2 is going to be 15 moles. Okay, now I look at my ratio. So I've got 3 moles here reacting with 2 moles over on this side. So the ratio here is 3 to 2. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to divide 15 by 3 because I've got 3 there. And then I'm going to times that by 2 to give me 10 moles over there. 10 times 17 gives me my mass equals 170 grams. Now, if you go through this method of just writing your equation, mass, MR, moles, and doing it really nice and neatly, trying to keep as neat as possible, I'm not talking about handwriting, I'm just talking about laying it out in a nice column, I'm absolutely certain you will get full marks for your GCSE. Okay, so what we've done today then, we've calculated masses of reactants and products, and we've used balanced symbol equations to calculate reacting masses. Thank you so much for watching. Please do go through my rest of my playlists for more GCSE science content. And remember, if you ever need help with the GCSE science, Dr. Carl explains. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.